and share my screen. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, so thanks everybody for joining this call. This is part of the Career Go sessions where we help enable, empower everybody to find the job they love. So today's session is creative strategies for building lasting and powerful relationship. So this call is gonna be recorded and streamed in social media and YouTube. So if you're not comfortable being streamed or recorded, please leave the session now. So this community will help you boost your network and practice and skills. So if you are comfortable sharing your LinkedIn profile in the chat and connecting with others who share their profile, that would help you grow your network. So that's an easy thing you could do in this call to grow your network. I'm gonna post my personal LinkedIn. Mike is gonna post his as well. Maybe Randy, if you have yours, you can share that too. And we work to help see everyone in the job they love. So the call, Randy, today is gonna make it interactive. So feel free to raise your hand and ask questions as you go. There will, if you can just limit your questions to 2 minutes so that you give chance to others who want to ask questions. This is for you mainly. So we take a survey at the end. We just want to hear how did it work? How did it help you? If you can be kind to fill that 1 minute survey, this is going to be helpful for you in future calls and also for the speaker to get feedback. We also take a group selfie at the end. We use it for marketing purpose for future calls. So if you can stick around and be on camera at the end, and this will help you also with your job search as well. This whole community is all about volunteering. So if you're comfortable giving kudos and recommendations to the speaker, Randy, today, for his effort, for his energy and wisdom, that would be great. This is, again, payback for everybody. So feel free to put your, kudos and recommendation through LinkedIn. So our promise to you, if you continue to show up, if you continue to learn and apply what you get from this community, you will get hired. There is no doubt. We already had people who got hired. Just continue to show up, continue to be curious, ask questions, and get others to join this community. This is for you, and it's free. You don't pay anything. You get lots of wisdom from it too. So our goal is ambitious. We want to get 1,000 plus people to be hired in 2021. So when you get hired, please share. Let us know. We'll be happy for you. We'll cheer you. And we already have 10 plus people got hired in the last few weeks. So please, again, be curious. If you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel, we have lots of great nuggets there about resume, about networking, about LinkedIn, about storytelling, about interviewing, recruiters, recruitment process, and other great things. And it's all very condensed, very, filled 1 hour of full energy and wisdom. So you will definitely learn a lot. And there's stuff that I bet you don't know from those sessions. Okay, so we had previously had Sundays, but for summer we thought maybe people want to get more out, so we stopped the Sundays. The next session is going to be a Q&A where you can come and ask questions free on what is blocking you, and we could help you with those questions. And again, those sessions are going to be shared through Eventbrite and on our Facebook and LinkedIn group. So for today's session, the topic is creative strategies for building lasting and powerful relationship. So the objective for today, what networking is and is not, examining your current relationship strength, unveil the truths of building relationship alliances to achieve anything you desire, and again, your next step. So our speaker today, Randy Brown, is a former college basketball coach, using his knowledge of relationships and leverage the success bound professional. He's an international best-selling author, an accomplished speaker, and mentor. Randy, welcome. The floor is yours.
Yes, thanks so much for having me, Ahmed. You have a wonderful program. I do appreciate what you're doing for others. That's very admirable, and we all need help. Um, to be a lifelong learner, I think, is what it's all about. And what you're doing is just giving folks a really an opportunity to get a head start. And you should really be you should get a pat on the back for that. That's tremendous what you do. So I'm going to thanks for the intro. I'm going to address those items that you mentioned, and I'll probably deviate a little bit. I'll probably would love to answer questions certainly as we go, and we have a small group, so it should be pretty easy to address those. And I'll bounce around a little bit. I love the topic. I'll get fired up and especially when I get to answer some questions. And I just what I've taken, if I can tell you anything to start, I've taken a topic, networking, which I personally feel like people in general think it's really a boring topic and they don't like doing it at all. Okay, it's going to take too much work. I'm going to have to cold call. Oh, I don't know them. How am I going to get to know them? Well, it's going to take blah, blah, blah. Okay, so by the time we listen to ourselves say that, we're going to hate networking. I mean, I just think that that's a general consensus. I take a little bit different look at it. I think that any profession, whether you're going to build your own business, whether you're going to be an employee and work under someone in a business, if it doesn't matter what you do, okay? Life is about relationships. It is. Business, your careers are about relationships. And the better that you can understand that and get really, really good at it, the better off your career is going to be. So, if I said, hey, in 10 years, would you like your salary to have 5 zeros in it or 6 zeros? Okay. Five figures or 6 figures. And you'd say, well, I think six sounds pretty good. Okay. Well, get going on building relationships and have fun with it. Be creative with it. It's not a pest. It's not something that is boring. It's something that really should invigorate you. It does with me. I mean, I love to meet new people, but I also love to figure out who are the influencers, who are the people in my, let's say, industry that if I could get to know that one person, that could unleash dozens and dozens and dozens of influencers. And I'll talk about that as I get going. So as you can tell, when I talk about this, I love it. So I grew up a basketball player. I loved basketball. I wanted to coach, and I became a high school coach. And then I realized I wanted to be a college coach because I heard you actually could get paid for being around basketball. I thought that was pretty cool. So I said, I'll sign up for that. And so that was my lifelong career. I'm now not coaching a team per se, but I'm actually mentoring young coaches. But during about a 25, 6 year career, the only way that I was able to go from where I started, which is a high school coach, all the way up to the highest level of NCAA basketball at schools like Iowa State and University of Arizona, was not because I knew a lot about basketball more than anybody else. It had nothing to do with that. It had to do with the fact that I learned when I started, due to some great advice by people I really respected, that I needed to become great at relationships. What they didn't tell me was, oh, you really got to network. You really got to network and get to know a lot of people. I'm glad they didn't tell me that. What they told me was you need to get really good at relationships. Now there's a distinction there, right? I think you can all hear that. If someone just, because listen, if there's five of us here, six of us here, whatever, I'll promise you right now, if I say write down your definition of networking, and all six of us do it right here in real time, we know we're going to have 6 different unique definitions, right? So when I give advice to people like I am right now, I don't say, "Oh, you need to get out there and network, get your name out there." What does that mean? Does that mean get on top of a skyscraper and hold up a huge sign with your name? I don't know what that means. Okay. I need something that's a lot more definitive than I don't need generalities. I need something that's very definitive. So I say relationships. And I think that scares people. I'm just being honest. I think it does. But if you want the 6 zeros, and not to say that money's the deal. I didn't want to go down that path. No, if it's important to you, it's important. That's awesome. Okay. But the whole thing is if you want to maximize who you are, what your passions are, where you want to go, the type of impact you want to have on other people through your job, through your business, whether it's your business or you work for someone, it's all going to be enhanced greatly by your ability to meet people and develop relationships. So I would tell all of you that right now, if even a little bit you're hesitant about networking, throw that out the window and say, I am 100% going to embrace networking. All right. I'm going to learn to love it. I'm going to learn to be creative. The more creative you are, the more enjoyable I think networking is. So I'm here to encourage you. Excuse me, I got a little bit of a throat issue today.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, no, I agree with you, Randy. And again, for today, in today's world, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. It's very important too. Like, when I came to Canada 7 years back, I met Mike and became close friends, and he's been helping me a lot. Mike is a recruiter. He's placed hundreds of people,
Mm-hmm.
and he helped me a lot. Mike, do you want to add anything here? And you're speaking mute.
The key to it is you're absolutely right. If you build a relationship, it can lead you so far. Like, you know what I mean? It opens up doors. It's incredible. And that's what I like to do. I just don't cold call people. And I think Ahmed have heard this before. I just don't cold call people and say, oh, my name is so-and-so, blah, blah. I look for an angle and, to find out a way that I can kind of break the ice and make something common. And if it's somebody I know that they know, if it's a university that they've been to that I know of, a part of the country, there's something that you can break things down and kind of build a relationship. And don't talk about work, just talk about general things for 5 minutes. And then you warm them up. And then, you know what? They're like friends. They're like, people that will send you referrals. And then you get to know them, and then you get to know their referrals or
Yep.
the people they know. And it's like networking, building relationships. That's so key.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember, my first 2 jobs here in Canada, the first one was through a friend who was working with me almost 8 years back. And, we didn't connect afterwards, but, when I came to Canada, I reached out to see who's in my network, who's in Canada. And I found him and, we spoke, he had a contract for me and I took it for 6 months. So that's how it worked. And the next job was also another friend who was working with me somewhere who knows somebody here in Canada who connect me to, and he was a hiring manager, so he got me the job. So those, to your point, Randy, it's all about relationship. It's all about how to build that power of your network, how to get to know people who is influencing decisions that would make you get hired shortly. Because you could maybe have thousands of people in your LinkedIn profile, but nobody could hire you. Nobody could really help you.
Right.
That's not effective. Back to you, Randy.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Both of you. Thank you. So I actually want to add something to something that you said. And I think this can be a game changer for you and the way you look at this skill of building relationships that you're going to that is going to be very important for you. Okay. I think we all grew up being told that it isn't what we know, it's who we know. And to a point that's true. But I've taken that and contorted it a little bit because I want you to really hear what I'm saying here now, and this is really important. It's not what you know, and it's not even who you know or who you think you know. It's who knows you. My example would be this. In my field, let's say in coaching in college basketball, you could say, well, well, I know that coach at the University of St. Louis. Here, sure, I know him. How many other people could say that? 1,000 at least?
For sure, thousands, yes.
Okay. So now I'm in a group of 1,000. Okay. that I don't like my odds. Now, it's true that I know them, or at least I have met them. And there's a distinction there that I'm going to get to after this. But let's say that I do know them. And I'm and when I say 1,000, I'm not kidding with college coaches. I mean, it's crazy how tight a lot of professions are, in terms of being tied to each other. And in coaching in the US with college coaching, it's really, really amazing how tight everybody is. So what if I said what's most important is who knows you? Now, that same coach at the University of St. Louis who knows me and has a job open, I am theoretically going to be one of the people that he's going to think about and sincerely consider for that position. Now, our number of 1,000 has just gone to, let's conservatively say 20 to 15, and that's going to be shaved to 5 or 6. And if I make that, I'm now in a group of 5 or 6 out of all of those in the country who know this guy. Okay, did you see what I did? I just twisted it a little bit, but it's a crucial distinction because, and that's where relationship building comes in. All right, because yes, we want to know people, but we want them to know us. Okay, so that is really important. I wanted to make sure that I got to that, and I said that. Really, really important. The other thing is, well, I guess I'm going to go down the list, Ahmed, of the goals that I had for an agenda for tonight, so I can make sure I do a good job of covering all of that. So let's start with what networking is and isn't. It probably isn't what most of us think that it is. All right, it isn't business cards. It isn't networking events. It isn't knowing someone's first name and not knowing their last name. It isn't a 1 or 2 time meeting with someone that's going to really build strength in that relationship. That's not networking. To me, here's what networking is. When you go out in the morning, you fill both pockets with seeds. Okay, I'm from Iowa, right? Okay, so we lead in corn production and soybeans, right? That's what we do. So let's say I leave in the morning, I got both pockets full of seeds, corn seeds. Networking is a constant activity of planting seeds. And the great thing about planting seeds is I may get nothing from it today. I may get nothing from it tomorrow. I may get nothing from it a month from now. I can't, though, build relationships when I need the job. All of a sudden, let's say I get downsized. They give me a 2-month severance, and I got 60 days to get my next job at that salary or more. And all of a sudden, I'm going to start establishing relationships, lifelong relationships in 60 days that are going to get me that job. That doesn't work. But what if I had planted those seeds? Okay, not a big deal. It's just shaking hands, It's getting the first and last name. If they do have a business card, that's not networking, like I said earlier, but taking that information and, of course, putting it in your CRM or however you organize your names of people that you're meeting. And if you do this over a period of time, now remember, here's what a farmer does. He plants the seed, he prepares the soil, plants the seed, covers the soil back over on top of it. Okay, we farmers and I will pray every day, every night that it's going to rain. And once it rains for 3 straight days, they pray that the sun comes out so that it can dry the soil out. And they irrigate. They use pesticides to get rid of bugs and weeds. Okay, you see what they're doing? You see how much care goes into that crop? That's why we have 14-foot high stalks of corn. I mean, at harvest time, because of what they've done, the attentiveness and all the time that they've put into that field. They didn't just drop the seeds. You know, how many times do we meet someone and it doesn't go any further than that? What that is, that's a seed that you dropped in the soil and you left it to be scorched by that summer sun, and it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't become anything. Can you imagine over periods of time where you're planting seeds? Remember, I said this. This might be the most important thing I can tell you tonight. The fortune is in the follow-up. You can meet all the people in the world you want one time. If it's not followed up, and then you don't take care of that seed as it starts to grow, you'll get nothing from your crop. There'll be no harvest in the fall. But if there is follow-up, it is amazing what can happen to the strength of relationships, and then the size, if it's size that you're attempting to build in your network. It's amazing the size of your network. Now, you know, there's a great book called The Slight Edge, and I'm a huge Slight Edge fan. And it basically says that those everyday average tasks, which we all can do, okay, they're easy to do, but they're also easy not to do. And there's a story in the Slight Edge about 2 people who go to the gym together, and they're both going to lose weight and they're both going to gain muscle, right? And the first week, they're all excited. They're in there together, both of them, you know, they're buddies, and they go Monday, Wednesday, and Friday that first week. And the second week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And the third week, one of the guys misses Wednesday. Okay, now his buddy's gone 9 times. He's gone 8 times in the first 3 weeks. Okay, is there any difference in strength? No, not really. I mean, he just missed 1 out of 9. But here's what happens in the story. This is really neat when you think about it. In the story, it says a month later, his buddy's only coming 1 time a week. And 2 months later, he's not showing up at all. So 6 months down the road, who's stronger? Now is there a real difference between strength, between the guy who's coming 3 times a week very consistently and in a disciplined way versus the other guy who started fast and tailed off? There absolutely is. Okay. I know people who have done it with push-ups, and they said, I'm going to do 1 today. I've never tried this. I should do this. 1 today, 2 tomorrow, 3 the next day, 4 the next day, 5 the next day. They say it's unbelievable how fast you can get to 50. And think about what that means. It means that they're planting seeds every single day on a very consistent manner. But as they meet people, they're also getting the appropriate contact information, and they are following up. The fortune is in the follow-up. Listen, you have to decide if there's 10 people being interviewed. You have to decide whether you want to be 9 out of 10. Because I contend that if there's 10 interviews, 9 of those could be exactly the same. They dress the same, they speak the same, they have the same boring questions, they have the same boring answers. Then there's that one person who changes everything and comes in a very creative way. I'd rather be the 1 out of 10 than the 9 out of 10. And you can do that if you drop those seeds every single day and you learn to follow up. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, okay, I dropped 2 one day and I dropped 1 the next day and 1. Oh, geez, after a while, there's going to be hundreds. Yeah, isn't that great? And I'm going to be busy following up. Yeah, isn't that great? That's awesome. See, that's the slight edge. You want to interview against the people who don't have the discipline to drop those seeds and follow through every day. And if you do, you end up winning in the end. And really what I'm telling you is not, it isn't any a crazy new wave fantastic idea. But it is a story about discipline, and it is a story about belief that what you are doing is going to pay off in time. Listen, there's no free lunches, right? Nothing's easy in this world. I mean, we've got to have a plan. We've got to follow through. And that's, I mean, the whole idea, and it's great because I'm from Iowa, so it makes sense for me, but we grow some pretty darn good corn, and they do it every single year. And those farmers do the same thing every single year. Okay. They have their schedule. They do the same thing every year, and their yields are unbelievable. Well, you can do the same. I'll promise you. So let's talk about the fortunes in the follow-up. So you meet someone and in a coffee shop, and you exchange information or exchange names, and so you're going to say, well, now what do I do? Do I stop by their office, every day and say hi, or what do I do? Well, the actual art of building relationships is much more than the time we have today, but I will share a couple things with you. Number 1, learn how to be a handwriter. Master the art of the handwritten note. I am a huge believer in this, and I'll tell you why. Because I feel like my career was built with a postage stamp, and I really mean that sincerely. Technology is great, but technology could stunt your career big time. By that, I mean, listen, remember I said 9 out of 10, 1 out of 10? What do people do? They text or they email. We get used to receiving texts and emails. Okay. Has anybody got a handwritten note this week in the mail? I got one today, as a matter of fact, from one of my mentees. It made me feel good. But and usually the answer is no. Why? No. Because with technology, right? We don't need, we think we don't need to. I'll email them. Wrong answer. Why? Because everybody else, I always say, figure out what everybody else is doing and do something different. So everybody emails people they meet. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to take a stamp, put it on an envelope, and in my mentoring program, I teach the 3 to 4 sentence handwritten note. It's not a letter. It's a note. It has a purpose. We teach a purpose behind it. And then we always have the note be written such that there's a natural follow-up. So it just doesn't end with that note. See what I'm saying? We drop the seed, right? The sun, the water, and it just keeps going. And so if an affluent, affluent's not the word, if an influential real estate manager in your town was walking down the street, and he met 10 people, and all 10 he exchanged information with. He got down to the end of the block and he goes into his office. There's a chance maybe that 3 or 4 are going to email or text and say, it was nice to meet you. I'll promise you, out of 10 at max, there's going to be 1 that will take the time, and it takes exactly 3 minutes, by the way, because I've timed it. I teach it such that it only takes 3 minutes. Okay. If you, fortunes in the follow up, if you will take 3 minutes, and Ahmed, I will send you this. I will send you the formula. It's on I've got it all written out on exactly how to do it. But if you'll take 3 minutes to write that handwritten note, I promise you, you have gained a great friend, because that will be an impressive thing for someone to open that up. First of all, there's the curiosity, isn't there? Okay. There's let's see, there's bills. Let's see, what else do we get? Useless flyers. What else do we get in the mail? Oh, handwritten note. Oh my gosh, I wonder who that's from. Oh, that's handwritten. That's not the one where they fake the handwritten. That drives me crazy. Somebody actually came up with that. I'm not a fan of that. You guys might be, but I'm not. I'll
Old
back to the
school.
old school. I'm gonna write, and I write sloppy, so I have to slow down a little bit. And all of a sudden, that shows up at this real estate fella's office, and he looks at it and says, "My goodness, wonder who wrote me a handwritten note." He is curious. Huh. Opens it up. Whoa, my gosh. It's from Marla. Marla wrote me. I met her the other day on the street. Well, that was nice. She took the time and is creative enough to spend 55 cents or whatever it costs us these days to send this handwritten note. She didn't have to take time to do that. Of the 10 people, suddenly 9 have disappeared, and she has risen to this level right here in 3 minutes of your time. All right. Now, I have sat and written hundreds and hundreds and hundreds at settings. As a college basketball coach, recruiting the finest players in the country, I coached at a time when we just constantly wrote handwritten notes. In fact, the best players, we would write handwritten notes, put them in FedEx packages, and send them. I mean, you talk about just money. Oh my gosh, we would spend money on recruiting, but to establish a great team in college basketball, you have to have great players. So whatever it took. And so I'm such a believer in the handwritten note. You could never talk me out of it, because you will impress someone. It's going to say a lot about you. And remember, once you've impressed them, now you have created a bond between you and that person. Can you imagine when that next one comes in the mail? They're going to be like, give me that mail. I know who that's from. Let me see what's going on here today. That's cool. They invited me to an after work barbecue. There's a chance I'm going to go to that, because Marla has begun to establish that connection between, this business person and her. Through how much effort? About that much. And how much money? About 55 cents. And now, fortunes in the follow-up. We're just talking about one person. What if we talked about 10 people? What if we talked about dozens? What if we talked about 50 or 100? Oh my gosh. Okay. And so I think in our world, you have to be careful with technology. What's convenient might not be effective. Okay. If somebody needs directions on getting to my house, first of all, I'll tell them to just put it in their phone. But second of all, if they want to know whatever, I mean, it's good for exchanging information, but it's not great, in my opinion, for establishing the kind of deep relationships that we need to build. Okay, so what networking is and what networking isn't, I touched on that a little bit. And again, please holler if you have any questions or something you don't understand. Yeah,
I have a comment in regards to that personal note. Come the holiday season, for the last couple of years, I sent out cards, holiday cards, Christmas cards, New Year's cards to our consultants, and I sent out possibly 70 or 75 with handwritten notes. And it's like some of the comments I got back, emails, like were just, I forward them to my boss. Just take a look at this. Take a look at this. It's such a personal thing to receive. Not the $10 card in their coffee card or $15 coffee card. It's
right.
the note that counts.
Yeah.
Which goes a long way. And it was like it was like I was completely floored by some of the comments that they sent back, which makes you feel good, you know. But it builds
It does.
relationship, as you say, a lot more different than just an email, you know, happy holidays, blah, 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 which is
Right.
probably mass sent. This was written, written like note, written the address, stamped and mailed. Took me a
That's
couple hours,
yeah,
but
good for you. That's awesome.
well
And,
spent,
and,
well
and look,
spent.
I'm so glad you offered that. Thank you, because I want the others that are on this program to hear that that's putting it to practice.
Yeah.
That's what you did. And in a couple hours, and who knows what that could yield. Oh my gosh. And that's why we drop the seeds. I don't know when I drop the seeds what that's going to yield, but I know for sure it's going to be something good. You know, that's going to
100%.
continue to give over and over and over. And another thing you mentioned, and you're exactly right. You know, even people that do write cards and say, you know, happy holidays to you and yours. Okay. And it's handwritten. Okay, great. They took the effort. Now, you know what's amazing is people don't send cards, nearly even greeting cards at holidays like they used to, let alone just normal, like what I'm talking about. And that's why let's strike while the iron's hot now, because if there was ever a time to become a great handwriter, it's right now. It's the best time ever. That's how people used to communicate. They don't anymore. But let's even take it a step further. Instead of, and I know you did this, but instead of happy holidays to you and yours, um, enjoy Christmas with your family. Please greet Gene, Billy, Tommy, and Joni. And we all know what that's like when people specifically mention names of ourselves and other people in our family. That's special.
Yeah.
How much longer does that take to write? Not very much longer, but boy, does it pack a punch.
It really
So,
truly does.
so I'm gonna I will send that to you, Ahmed.
Thank you.
That process of the note. I also have it. It's called an add-on. I always teach. I always teach them to put something in, so it's not enough. The handwritten note, the business card. That's not enough for me. I always want an add-on. I always want to go a step further, and it could be on cardstock paper, and you cut it out the size of the envelope and a little smaller than the size of the envelope, and you drop it in there, and it could be. You know, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're both right. That was a great Henry Ford quote. So I like quotes. So you could drop that in there. Now all of a sudden they open the note, they read it, they're like, okay, they're impressed, right? Handwritten note, and oh, what's this over here? Well, that's awesome. Copies it off, gives it to everybody in the office. And that came out of your handwritten note. So in other words, go to the extra mile. Fortune's in the follow-up. You know, I could speak about that for hours. Okay, let's go to the second one. Examine your current relationship strength. What I want you to do is I want you to seriously look not at your day planner or on your phone A to Z. Those are just people of life. Okay, it's your not to say that your plumber's not important, but it's your plumber, it's the dog sitter, it's the Sunday school teacher, it's everybody, including that real estate person I talked about. Those are all the people. Okay, I want you to take that group, and then I want you to distinguish which people that you sincerely want to begin to build relationships with that will stand the test of time today, tomorrow, next year, 5 years, 10 years from now. These are people, they don't necessarily have to be in your industry, but if they are people of influence or people who are highly respected, and hey, highly respected people, it doesn't matter what industry they come out of. People love respected people, people that get things done, people that when they say something, they're going to follow through with their word, that type of thing. Okay. Influencers that's kind of a buzzword these days. So I use that word a lot. But those types of people, not that the rest of your people aren't important. Okay. But so let's say that you have a group of 200 people and you're going to take, let's say 20 of those and put them over in this list. And those are going to be people that I want to begin to build from scratch, or maybe not scratch. Maybe you've started to establish a little bit of relationship, but I want to build with these 20 people a bond and an alliance that I know that these people will build a web for me that is really going to help me in my career as long as I work in this industry and or others. Okay, so that's what I mean by examine your current relationship strength. So pick the people out of the pot of all the folks that you know and have identified with, okay? And then determine what you think the strength is. If you want to do a 1 out of 5 or a 1 out of 10 scale, and I'll tell you, you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised at how low you're gonna grade yourself, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. When you do that, it's a great starting place, because now instead of, I got to go to this networking event and meet all these people. No, you've already established people that you very intentionally now are going to begin to build alliances with and relationships with. And again, it's just a whole nother sphere of learning and strategy about how to build those alliances. And like I said earlier, which we don't have time for today, but we can get to that. We can figure out a way to get that across to you. Okay, that's two. Number 3, unveil the truths to build relationship alliances to achieve what you desire. Okay, so I have this thing called the truths and the lies. Okay, what's a lie about what's a lie about networking? What's a truth about networking? And so I've got this book right here, and I'm happy to say that I'm one of several co-authors in this book. This is Business Life in the Universe, Volume 4. This book that I collaborated with some of my some of my co-writers and some of my co-influencers became an international bestseller. So I'm excited, and I've got a chapter in here. And imagine what my chapter is about.
Now that's Corey Poirier, correct?
Yes, it's Corey's.
He's from PEI. He was a guest speaker with us once, I think twice.
Awesome. He is
great guy. Oh my God.
Man, he's my guy. Yeah.
Oh,
he knows how to get it done. Guy. So my article is Replace Lies with Truth. Reach your dream job with networking's 7 truths. And I'm going to read through these real quick. Okay, truth number 1. I wonder if we've ever heard this. It's not what you know, and it's not who you know. It's who knows you. Okay, we know that one, right? Number 2, drive depth in your network as you build volume. Listen, if you come to me and say, hey, Coach Brian, hey, I have 10,000 people in my network now. I said, great. You have 10,000 people, and you probably know about half of their first names, and that's about it. Those are called surface relationships. They are potentially a seed, but they're not a seed yet. If you came to me and said, I only have 7 people in my network, Coach, I'd say, that's awesome. Is there depth in all 7? Yes. I've worked really hard at driving depth. So depth of relationship, more important than size, okay? Because if you have size, you won't have a harvest in the fall like we do here, right? With those 7, you're going to have a harvest. So I'm big on smaller numbers with depth versus large numbers. A big network, there's no special thing about a big network. Number 3, Babe Ruth will help knock your career out of the park. Babe Ruth, the great home run New York Yankees baseball player in the World Series, once was at bat and he pointed to the center field bleachers, and his idea was, I'm going to point out there because I'm going to hit the next ball when I'm at bat here, I'm going to hit one out of the park right at that spot. And he did. After about 4 foul balls, he finally knocked one out. Home run in the center field bleachers. It is one of the greatest things ever. They call it the called shot. He said, I'm going to do that, and he did it. In networking, you find people who can get it done for you. They will deliver what they say they can do for you. That's a Babe Ruth. Okay. I had 2 of them in my career, and I will forever be blessed to have those 2. I was turning jobs down all the time because they'd be, hey, I got this thing going for you. Hey, listen, I'm good. I'm good. That's how blessed I was. And they were tremendous, high level coaches. And I worked really hard to gain those guys' trust. Okay, networking truth number 4. Be 1 out of 10, not 9 out of 10. We talked about that. Okay, so you can see a lot of things we've heard so far. Networking truth 5. Building the future of your network by farming, not hunting. I didn't make that distinction. We did talk about farming. Hunting is when you just are focused on one thing. Like on Tuesday, I'm going to go out and I'm going to do this. And on Wednesday, I'm going to do something different. And on Thursday, I'm going to try something different. Versus the seeds in your pocket, that's doing the same thing every day, like the farmers do in a very consistent, disciplined way. And I know that is the truth for sure when it comes to networking. Networking truth number 6. Learn the art of the personal touch with handwritten notes. We have heard that one too. And 7, in fact, as long as I'm on this, I want to talk about this. Okay. So I met a fellow by the name of Kenny Aronoff. And I don't know if anybody knows that name, but Kenny Aronoff was voted by Rolling Stone magazine as one of the top 100 rock drummers of all time. And I got a chance to meet Kenny Aronoff. I'd never met him before. We hit it off, and he has become a real friend of mine. Kenny Aronoff has been a part of 140 Grammy Awards. He's had he's been a part of many number 1 hits. He's worked with anywhere from Ringo Starr and Paul McCartney to Johnny Cash to you name it on down. He's worked with everybody. He's one of the most sought after session drummers in the world. He has appeared on 390 million records. That's 1/3 of a billion.
Wow.
This guy's no joke. He's called the hardest hitting man in entertainment. And he's my dear friend. I love him to death. But do you know what he told me? Kenny Aronoff told me this. He said, I go, Kenny, you know everybody. And for me to say that, that's something. And I said, Kenny, you know everybody. And he goes, yeah, you know what I do? I learned this a long time ago. When I shake hands with someone new, he goes, I grip their hand, I shake it, I look in their eyeballs, and I see 1,000 people behind them that they know that I don't know yet. About knocked me over.
Wow.
And if you think about it, when I met Kenny and got to know him, it is phenomenal. Now I'm a big music fan, so I'll like go to a concert, and if I'm around the artists and I know that Kenny knows them, I will introduce myself and I'll say I'm a buddy of Kenny Aronoff's, and I am the biggest. I'm immediate friend of whoever that artist is. It happens all the time because he knows so many people. So think of the value of my relationship with Kenny. I literally am. If Kenny is 1 degree, I'm 2 degrees related to probably everybody in Hollywood, everybody that's ever made a movie, everybody that's ever produced a movie, and certainly everybody that's ever been in music, at least as long as he's been around. I'm 2 degrees related to those people. I'm tied to those through Kenny Aronoff. How about that? And when I shook his hand, I had no idea what he was about to tell me. And he told me that story about 1,000 people. I've never heard anything so profound in my life as what Kenny told me. And I mean, I've heard artists like almost ridicule him, like he knows everybody. Oh, Kenny's got to know him. Kenny's got to know him, but he knows them all. And it's a great story. And think about that. It isn't really, as you drop seeds, I want you to also do another thing. I want you to remember Kenny's story, because as you drop the seeds every day and as you're shaking hands, remember it's the people they know that you don't know yet. And the person that you do know will be the conduit between you and a person who just might be your Babe Ruth someday. With one handshake. It's crazy because I mean, I every day I'll shake hands with somebody and I'll think of Kenny and I'll look him in the eye and I'll go, geez, think of all the great people this guy knows. Now, fortune's in the follow-up, right? If it's really going to kick in for me and be a big part of my career, okay? And we've got some young people in this group, and that's awesome that you're hearing this, okay? Put these things to practice now, the handwritten note, the shake hands, and think about the 1,000 people behind them. Don't meet people and forget about them. And then the last part of that is don't discount anybody. Don't discount anybody, okay? Because of the job, because of their looks, because their shirt's dirty, because of the kind of work they do. You have no idea who that person is, what kind of heart they have, okay? You have no idea who they might know. You know, we were we were born with that judgment muscle in our body, okay? And we all do it, and we work really, really hard not to, but don't. I'll tell you, I've made a mistake in the past of thinking that a certain person, well, I should really be talking to this guy. I don't really want to talk to that guy. He's nothing. He'll never go anywhere. No. We got to treat everybody the same, okay? And just, you know, just be a star yourself. You know, you're a rock star, and be a rock star, and people will notice, and they'll talk to, hey, did you meet that? And I'm telling you, the word spreads. It really does. It's like dropping those seeds. Okay, so I very quickly went through unveiling those 7 truths, and then how do you pronounce your name? Yassine?
Yassine, like have you seen Yassine? That's a good way to remember.
Have you seen? That's good. See, that's now that's a good skill right there to do that, because that's how people will remember your name.
Yeah.
Good job. All right, Yassine. I told you that I was going to share with you 6 steps, right?
Yes.
Steps of relationship building. Okay, here they are. Number 1, set a goal. What do you want your alliance of relationships to do, not for you, but along with you? Okay, how do you want them to assist you? Because again, we're all in different careers. We all have different, you know, I want to be the CEO. I want to do this. I want to do that. What do you want it to do for you? Okay. It's great to build, you know, a nice alliance with depth and everything, but then you say, well, why am I really doing this? Okay. So know from the beginning why you're doing this. For me, I wanted to be a college basketball coach. That's plain and simple the reason that I followed the steps that I was given as wisdom by those who had come before me. I knew exactly what I wanted out of it. Okay. And what's cool for me, honestly, is now I get to teach it. So it's the same advice, really, that, yeah, there's Kenny on the screen right there. Yeah, there's my man.
Yes,
so see, you guys are only 2 degrees related to him. That means 3 degrees related to everybody in entertainment. That's pretty good.
No, I think, you know, if you don't mind, Randy, I want to be introduced to Kenny. You know, that's
Oh, this guy. If you like Creedence Clearwater Revival, okay, John.
CCR, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So John Fogerty. So Kenny's played with John Fogerty for 17 years as his drummer, as his tour drummer.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Along with, you know, John Mellencamp. That's how he got his break. He was 16 years with John Mellencamp, and on and on and on. He's played with everybody.
Incredible.
Okay, that's the first thing. Set your goal. Number 2, and then evaluate what it is. I've already covered that, right? You took a look at all the people that you have collected, A to Z, and then you're going to pull out, I just said 15, but it's going to be whatever number you want. So that's evaluating your current network. Number 3, what kind of relationship structure will it take to reach your goal? In other words, how are you going to go about it? You have to have a plan. So you got to figure that out. Setting a goal is what you want your network to sort of do for you in your career. This is more about how am I going to go about, okay, so I mentioned handwritten notes. What are some of the other things you can do? Okay, because you want to be diversified. You don't want to do the same thing all the time. All right, you got to be really creative. You know what I tell my coaches? I say figure out if you want to build relationships, and this would go for everybody here tonight. If you want to build relationships, find out other than, well, he's in real estate, he must love real estate. Okay, cross that one out. We know he's in real estate. We know he's good at it. What interest does that person have? Mm-hmm. I need to be curious about what makes that person tick. What are they into? Oh, he loves biking. I always see him biking. He loves to play golf. He likes music. I tell you, music's a big one. I can't tell you how many times I've learned that so-and-so coach, likes the Rolling Stones. And so when I see him and shake hands with him for the very first time and say hello, I say, I tell you, if it wouldn't be any better if Mick Jagger was here. Something like that. And I've used that a lot. I've used music a lot. I have my coaches, I go find somebody that likes to play golf. And we've done this a lot. And I have them go get, you can get 4 sleeves of 3 golf balls in a dozen, right? I have them take the sleeve of golf balls. There's 3 balls in that little sleeve, that package. And I have them mail that to the coach and say, I understand you love golf. Hit these as far as you can hit them. And I look forward to meeting you someday and talking about your golf game. Okay. Now, you could go broke if you did that all day and sent that to every coach in the world, right? So we're going to use it discriminately, but think of the impact that has made on those coaches. That's creative. It's going the extra step. That's been a big one. We've done a ton of that. But it could be anything.
Yeah.
Anything. It could be you plant a watermelon or send them watermelon seeds if they like gardening, if whatever. I mean, be creative, folks. Be creative. Okay, that's so huge. Figure out what everybody else is doing and don't do it.
Do the opposite.
Yes, unless you want to be 9 out of 10. That's 11% odds. I don't like those odds. I like 1 out of 10. That's 100% or 90% if you want to do the math. That's what I want all you to be able to do is be that 90%. Okay, so that's 3.
So Randy, just a time check. We're almost at 9. So if you wanna, do the remaining ones.
Okay. Let me just say, we've already covered this. Water your field. That's kind of the follow-up. And actually, the last one is 1,000 people. And I've already told that story too, about the 1,000 people that you're going to see. Remember this. Remember I said this. You're being interviewed and observed every second of every day. Just be ultra aware of that. You are. Okay. I'm going to give you an example. Basketball camps in the U.S. are huge, and I know they're big in Canada. Okay, so you get several hundred, young players that want to come out at a college and go to their basketball camp. And so I had a coaching staff of 32 coaches. That's how big. I mean, we had like 450 campers. And I gave them roles and exactly what to do. And I remember sending them all back for dinner. And after dinner, I had something that I forgot at the gym, and I ran back to the gym. And you know what I found in the gym? And this is a 17 court facility. I found one of our coaches was going from court to court and picking up empty water cups that campers had drank and not got in the garbage. And I went over to him and I said, "Hey, I really appreciate you helping out, bud." And it was the second day of camp, so I really didn't know him yet. He was kind of a new hire. And so we met that night, and he didn't have to do that. He did that just because that was in his DNA. He didn't do it to impress anybody, because actually, think about it. He was doing that when everybody else was at the cafeteria. He probably did it so nobody would see him. And I picked up on that, and I thought, that right there is really a special part of who that person is. They're not doing it to impress me, but I'm impressed. I'll never forget that. Do you know that my friend ended up hiring him because I was his Babe Ruth? I was his Babe Ruth because he picked up cups.
Oh, wow.
So you don't have to conquer the world, okay, to get what you want to get, to achieve what you want to achieve. You just be the best version of you, be creative, follow up, and just be a darn good person. And you are being interviewed and observed every single day. And if you think you're not, see, he didn't think he was. And I walked in, he was kind of surprised, like, "Oh, hey, I'm just picking these cups up," almost like I was gonna, I was gonna scold him. and just be that person. Believe me, that's like dropping the seeds. It will pay off. We don't know when and we don't know how, but we know it will pay off. Okay. I hope some of what we've talked about has helped you. I'm going to follow up with some resources that, and I really didn't want to do a lot of stuff on the screen. I really just kind of wanted to talk and give you as many examples of stories as possible. They say facts tell and stories sell. I love stories. And that's why I wanted to end with the one about the young man that was voluntarily picking up those cups. Okay. Now, Marla, I'm expecting, since I used you as an example, to be a expert handwriter from now on. All right. I mean, if you can do that, that would be huge for all of you. That is just one of the really, really important things. And there are other ways to get people's attention, but I haven't found one that powerful. Boy, it's an amazing deal. So, Ahmed, if I can answer any questions, or I know we're at the top of the hour here.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much. This is very inspireful. I really wish we could do this for longer hours. I know just it's a long day for maybe some folks here, but I want to be respectful of everybody's time. But to be honest, I want to stay for longer. This is a lot of wisdom, a lot of things that I personally learned today. Especially the who knows you is very, very, very
That
effective.
is powerful. That is
Very powerful. Yes. Thank you so much. So again, Marla, if you want to add anything, Mauricio, Yassine, feel free. We're gonna take the selfie together, and we can stay for a bit for any Q&A. Go ahead, Marla. You want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much. And this was the first time I attended something like this, and it was truly inspiring. I've been taking pages and pages of notes so copiously, and I think you'll be proud to know that I'm already sending handwritten things to my customers as a little thank you. So I was pumped when you said that. So that was awesome. Thank you so much for your time and your wisdom. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome, and I hope you continue to access the program. And that's awesome. It's your first time. I mean, that's where it starts. And Ahmed, let me just and I'll interrupt here for a second. If you would like me to come back on and continue maybe the art of building the relationship,
Sure. Yeah,
I would love to do that.
yeah. If you want to come back next Thursday, we'll be happy to have you back. For sure.
Not next Thursday. They won't be here. Come on, I told you to be here. This is almost like a podcast. It's great. It's very
I'll contact you about it. I'll contact you about it for a couple weeks. I'll be out of pocket.
But I can watch it.
No worries. No worries. Okay. So if you don't mind, we can maybe take a group selfie together, and then again we can stay for a bit just for any Q&A. So whenever you're ready, I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, and I want to see great smile. Awesome. This is nice. Very nice. Thank you so much, Randy. Thanks everybody for showing up, and thank you for your great wisdom. Really, I'm very inspired, and you know, if anyone have any questions or follow-up, please feel free to unmute and ask.
I'm going to
Now,
add
isn't Iowa the field of dreams?
It is. Yeah.
The corn stalks were like the person walking into the field.
Yeah.
They were like 5 feet over him or whatever,
Yep.
you know,
Yeah.
huge.
That's it. You know, they say, is this heaven? No, this is Iowa. Yeah.
So true.
Yeah. It's so Kevin Costner. Yeah. That's, I got goosebumps just having you say Field of Dreams. That's near and dear to my heart. That's my email address, right? I'm going to, in the chat, I'm going to indicate my phone.
What university did you coach?
I started at the University of Arizona in Tucson.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've been at if you can keep track, I was at 7 stops in 20 years. So then next I was at Drake University in Des Moines, Iowa,
Yeah.
University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, almost across the border with you guys, about an hour away. I then went to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where Marquette University is.
Yeah.
Then I was in Southern Ohio at the University of Miami of Ohio.
Yeah.
I went to Florida and became the head coach at Stetson University, which is between Daytona and Orlando. And I finished up at Iowa State University in Ames, Iowa. I've coached 12 players who went on to play in the NBA, 3 of them first-round draft picks. The current head coach of the Golden State Warriors, Steve Kerr, I coached at the University of Arizona.
Really?
No way.
So,
No
yeah.
way.
Really? Wow.
Just very blessed to be not only with excellent players who went on to play in the NBA. That's great, but the quality of the mentors and the people that I worked with and for was, I mean, it's off the charts. I couldn't create that myself. It just happened during my career that I don't know, maybe I don't, somehow I just got around great people.
Yeah.
And that really helped me. And it was a wonderful career, just totally blessed, learned a lot. And
Amazing.
and probably, you know, the championships and that are great. Now I'm being really transparent when I say this. To be able to do what I'm doing here tonight with you all is just as much of a joy, because in my pursuit of getting to the top of my profession, it only happened because of 2 things. Well, my effort, but 2 things. 1, the wisdom of those who came before me, and number 2, the quality of the people I worked with. And that's how I was able to do what I did in my career, to be able to share that no matter what profession you're in, no matter what level you're at, no matter anything. It to me is a thrill, because that just means I'm planting seeds with you all, if I could use that analogy one more time. So, and I mean that very sincerely. I love to share.
A great
I think
journey.
that's what the world's about.
Yeah. A great journey.
Yes.
Yeah. And again, you know, I'm coming from the same you know, let's say field like you. I'm coming from sports, Randy. I used to play soccer, and I traveled more than 14 countries all over the world. And you know, because I love soccer, I had to create friends. I had to build teams to play soccer, because I cannot play it alone. You know, you cannot play soccer alone. So you have to bring people together. You have to make them your friends, and you know, play together. So this, you know, built some of my characters, built some of how I, you know, show up today, and how I connect with people. You know, so again, sports makes lots of difference for sure.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Well, again, I want to thank you so much, Randy. This has been awesome night, and lots of wisdom. Very, you know, inspireful. Lots of nuggets, and I wrote down lots of notes, and definitely looking forward to having you back with us whenever you can. And
Next Thursday's good. Next Thursday's good. I didn't mean to shut it down real quick. I
Yeah.
apologize, of course.
it's okay. No, I think he has maybe some commitments too, so that's okay. We'd be happy to have you with us. So again, Marla, if you wanna, join our LinkedIn group or Facebook group, feel free. It's open for everybody. It's free, and bring your friends. This is, something that we want to help everybody. And if there's anything we can help you with, Marla, as well, let us know.
For sure.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. This has been great.
No problem. Yassine, any final words?
Yeah, I actually have I guess maybe it's a $1 million question. You talk about Babe Ruth, but how do you know who's gonna be your next Babe Ruth? How do you know this is the person I want to be in contact with? I want to talk to. This is gonna be my big man. How do you know? Or would you just have to go with the flow and try your luck?
Yeah. Okay, so I would tell you this. I had the advantage with one of my Babe Ruths because I actually worked for him at Marquette University. His name was Kevin O'Neill. In fact, he for 2 seasons, I think, was the head coach of the Raptors. He was an assistant there and then became the head coach. In fact, your current head coach, Nick Nurse, grew up about 50 miles from where I'm sitting right now, and he and I are very good friends.
Great guy.
Yeah, he's terrific. Yeah, so I had an advantage with Kevin O'Neill because I had worked for him. But had I not worked for Kevin O'Neill, I was really I'm really observant around people, and I'd love to hear who people are talking about, and they would say, hey, well, who you should ask is this guy at Marquette, Kevin O'Neill. Oh, I know Kevin. Yeah, I'll just call him up. You know Kevin? Oh, yeah, I've known him for years. And you start hearing that. And then the next day, the same thing happens. I had a guy come up to me and say, hey, I know you work for O'Neill, but you got it. You got to tell me the truth. How many of them are there? I saw him this morning in Phoenix, this afternoon in Orlando, and I know I'm going to see him in Pittsburgh tomorrow. Okay. And he wasn't kidding. I mean, Kevin's the kind of guy that he literally physically could be, it's like he was everywhere. And guys used to make jokes about that, but there's a lot of truth to that joke that he moved and he worked and he knew everybody. So I don't know if that answers your question. I would be very curious. I would talk to a lot of people about, hey, who do you know that, who's somebody in your network, that you really respect? Who's someone in your network that you consider an influencer? I don't think you can ask enough people enough questions. We don't in general ask enough questions. We don't, and again, I think we're great at getting on the computer and looking for information. But when I'm with another person, think of the knowledge they have that I could use. Okay? And just ask them. And the more people you ask, I guarantee you there will be a pattern. All of a sudden, you're going to be, okay, that's the 7th time I've heard that guy's name. He's either, he's got to be something special.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know if I helped you out or not.
No, I think I stumbled upon something here for sure. No,
Good.
that's
Stumbling is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, stumbling is
you.
good. Yeah, you're very welcome. Thanks for taking the time to be on with me tonight. This is terrific.
Thank you. Any final questions, anyone? No?
Yes. Is there time for a question?
Yeah, go ahead, Mauricio. Yeah. Again.
Okay. So Randy, so what would be the best strategy, when you start, when you're trying to connect with someone that you have interested in, like some influencer or decision maker, but somehow you're not grabbing her or his attention. You've done some research and discovered that person is interested in music or sports, and we're trying that strategy, that approach, but somehow you're not getting their attention.
Yep.
What should I do?
It's really easy. That's you're going to be happy You're going to be happy to hear that. It's really easy. Find out people that they know, that person knows, and use them. You know, leverage is a word that kind of has a negative connotation. Leverage is really positive, and I can't believe I haven't used that word yet tonight. Positive leverage, and I use the word because, okay, if it's Ahmed that you have identified as someone that you would really like to get to know and to really meet and start to build a relationship with, and like you said, you're having trouble disconnecting with him, it's just not working, it's, you know, maybe you're a little timid because of his position or whatever, find someone Ahmed knows that maybe you know or don't know, and use that to so-called grease the skids. Okay, let's say that you know Mike, and Mike knows Ahmed, and I would call Mike and say, hey Mike, I would love to meet Ahmed, but I haven't had any luck just calling him directly, and I know you know him. Could you do me a favor, give him a quick phone call and just ask if it'd be okay if I called him directly? Now, Ahmed's going to get a call from Mike. Mike's going to say, hey, I got a fantastic, young guy or your young lady that would love to meet you. He knows that we have this common connection. Okay. His name is Randy Brown. If he calls, would you take his call? Because he just really would like to meet you. Now, think of what we've done. When that name, my name meant nothing to Ahmed previous to Mike's call. Now he's heard this name and he knows, hey, and we all go for flattery. You know, hey, a young person wants to talk to me to get my advice on something. I mean, we all, oh, that's great. Yeah, I'd love to do that. So now the call comes into Ahmed's office and the secretary says, well, it's Randy Brown. He's calling for you, or leaves a message. I guarantee you're going to remember that Mike said that was that young guy or young gal that wanted to visit with him. Mike has qualified, what I call qualify. He's qualified me to talk to Ahmed. Ahmed almost feels like he knows me a little bit because of that relationship of 3. That's why I say 1 degree, 2 degrees. I use that term 2 degrees. When he takes that call, we're now connected. I'm now 1 degree. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. Sometimes don't try to do the heavy work yourself. Okay. Lean on others to do the heavy work, and you'll end up benefiting in the end. And then you're going to 100-fold over do that for other people, and you won't even know it. That's what's neat about being in connection with people. It's just constantly, it doesn't stop. It just keeps going and going and going. So did that help? Is that?
Oh yes, 100%.
That's something you can
yes,
use?
that was lovely. Yes, appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to do it again. Okay.
Yes, definitely. I will take your
100%.
word for that.
Okay. And Ahmed, I'm going to send you some resources. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Linktree. I have a Linktree link, and I can't find it, but it has all the places you can find me. But I'll get that to you. I'll find that and get it to you.
Sir. Thank
And
you so
then
much.
other resources. Okay.
Definitely. Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
y'all. Have a good night.
And thank you so much. Really appreciate it,
welcome.
everybody.
Obrigado. Pleasure meeting you.
Bye bye.
Yeah,
See you guys.
Pleasure meeting you.
My
Can't wait
pleasure.
to talk to you again.
You
Bye-bye.
bet. See you guys.
Good night.
Bye.